Hi there, Nikki here. Just want to start off first off by apologizing because I think there's sort of I think the fan on my laptop is making a strange hum in the background. I've tried to record this video a couple times to see if I can get rid of it, but I can't, so I guess I just have to deal with it. Also recorded this entire video once and realized that my laptop died anyway, so I'll start this all over again. It's Tuesday, so it is officially 1 week post-op for my surgery, so I just thought I would do a check-in. Even though I said I wouldn't be one of those people that checked in all the time, I just thought I'd kind of try to check in at the milestones, and kind of 1 week post-op to find out, to tell you about how the surgery went seemed pretty important to me. So the surgery itself went great. Everything was obviously fine, but I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty brutal, the recovery from it. I went in, had a lot of surgeries in my life, and it's been one of the toughest I've felt coming out of it. The night of the surgery I went in, I had a really rough night because on the pre-op diet, all I was basically eating was tons of vegetables and chicken, and I guess I had too much broccoli and cauliflower the night before, so I was up all night with really, really severe gas pains, and I didn't sleep at all. And then I had to get up at 5:30 and be at the hospital just after 6, and so I got there and I was just in pain already, and then I had the surgery. I was in there for 7:45, I think, in the morning. And so when I woke up from the surgery sometime after 10 in the recovery room, it was horrible for me. I had a lot. I want to say the word pain, but I feel like it's kind of wimpy to say the word pain. I guess it was more, they keep asking me to give you your pain level on a scale of 1 to 10, and I hate that question because I don't know, I think it's very subjective. I was in a lot of discomfort. I had even more pent-up gas, and it was just causing massive cramping, and I had a really sore left shoulder, which I'd been warned would happen and was normal because it's they pump all this gas into you during the surgery, and that just kind of makes you feel that pressure. But anyways, it was just really uncomfortable. But I mean, I was, by the time I was brought down to my room and given the morphine, I don't know, all the rest is just a haze. I did not have any pain specific to the wounds. I had 4 laparoscopic incisions plus 1 through my belly button, and the only one that was kind of tender and sore was the bigger one where the drain was coming out of, and I'm presuming where they pulled the excess stomach out that they cut out. So that part was a bit tender, and that was on my left side, which is why they say it's hard to lie on your left side after. But I was in and out for the rest of the day, sleeping. I was not able to get in any liquids. I was able to get up and walk around and do stuff, but I was just so uncomfortable from the pressure and the gas, and yeah, I just wasn't really doing anything other than sleeping. And the only thing I can describe the pain is that it's very weird, and it was very surreal because the pain was almost exactly that of a severe hunger pain. Like, it was that cramping of you're so hungry you want to vomit, and that's what I was experiencing. But I mean, I'm told it's not hunger, it can't be hunger, so it's gas or whatever, stomach healing, all these things. I don't know. All I know is that that's what it felt like, and then to be feeling like in my head that I must be starving. That's just what I felt. I felt like, oh my god, is this because I'm so hungry? So anyway, I went through that first whole Tuesday like that, and then normally they let people go home the next day pending any complications, but like a normal situation, everybody usually tends to go home the next day. And so I went home. I was told that that night to try to just keep getting as much fluids as I can, but every time they brought me water or juice, I'd just dry heave it back up. And so the next day, kind of more the same, more cramping, more discomfort, more nausea feeling. And I had this bariatric nurse coming at some point later in the day, and she was pummeling me with all these questions that I wasn't really able to answer because I was so uncomfortable. But she was kind of, drilling me, how much have you had, how much have you drinking? And I was like, oh God, I don't know, nothing really. And she's like, really? Well, I think they need to put, they had started to take the IV out. I think they had taken the IV out by that point when she was there. And she's like, I'm going to tell them to put it back in. I think you're going to need to stay for another night and all of this stuff. And I was like, oh my God, really? And so I was a little bit, she was kind of freaking me out. And then, so I phoned my husband, and I phoned my mother-in-law and told them I guess I have to stay another night. Then an hour later, the surgeon and the assistant surgeon walk in, and he's like, how are you? And I said, I don't know, not so great. And he said, so are you ready to go home? And I was like, what? And he said, yeah, you ready to go home? I said, I was just told I can't go home. He said, no, you can go home. It's fine. It's like sometimes the nurses just overreact or whatever. And I was like, it's nice that the left hand talks to the right hand, but I don't know, kind of political games were going on there. But the surgeon was overruling the nurse and telling me that I could go home, and he didn't seem worried. And so anyways, I wasn't going to complain, as long as he felt comfortable I could go. So then the nurse came back like a half an hour later, and she seemed pretty mad, and she's like, he's sending you home, I don't understand. She's like, are you ready to go home? She's like, and I just said, what, dude, I don't know. I said, I feel fine to go home. And she just seemed really obsessed with the fact that I hadn't really gotten a lot of fluid in. But like the surgeon said, he said it's the same day of the surgery. We don't anticipate that you would have a lot of fluids and you'll be able to take down a lot of fluids. But he said you're not vomiting other than a little bit of dry heat when I first tried some juice. So he said I'm not really worried about it. So anyways, I got home that night then. So this would be Wednesday night. Got home at about 7:38 and was super happy to see David and Aria. It's the first time because I had slept away from my daughter. She's almost 4. I've never slept away from her, so. I kind of just crawled into bed and started immediately trying to sip water. And at this point I was able to sip water and be okay, but just really tiny sips. And then I slept okay that night, but they gave me a prescription for Tylenol 3, and I just found that really funny because they're not supposed to take solids, but then they give you this prescription for these big giant pills, and actually those were really hard for me to take. Every time I took one, I just found that they sat in your chest and wanted to come back up and cause a bad acid reflux. But I was finding taking any of the stuff like the vitamin supplements and everything I was supposed to take, I was finding really hard for that. So the next day anyways, I slept okay, woke up and I felt fine. Still a bit of gas pressure, but it was definitely getting better. And then I basically just continued throughout that whole day of drinking like I was supposed to. Every hour I was doing something, because they say you're supposed to drink, take an ounce of a fluid and make that last 15 minutes. But they, one meal or whatever, they want that to be almost a half a cup to a cup of fluid. So you're literally all day just sipping something, whether it's your protein shake or your soup or your water. And I wasn't really having any problem with that, but I was feeling that horrible feeling of stuff getting, like I would be fine in the morning with everything, but then sometime in the mid-afternoon, and I don't know if it was acid reflux or whatever, or things starting to build up in the stomach, but I just found that when I started to take stuff in the afternoon, I get that stuck feeling, like it wanted to come back up. And I would just take an acid reflux pill, and I ended up doubling my acid reflux dose for the first few days, but I just realized, like, I haven't been doing that for days, and actually I think I even forgot to take my acid reflux last night. So I was really worried that my acid reflux would be really bad after the surgery, because I already had it, and I was told that it could either get worse or better. And so I was kind of scared, like, oh no, did I just totally jinx it and make myself worse? But it's actually getting better. It's fine. I'm not feeling it as much during the day anymore at all. So anyways, sorry, backtrack. So I stopped taking that pain medication literally after the second day. So I haven't been on pain meds since probably last Wednesday. It's okay. I have no problems with the fluids. I don't think I'm getting a lot. Like, and there's certain things I lost my appetite for, which is hilarious. To go back to my introductory video, which was not that long ago, and see my little naive comment about not being worried about drinking protein shakes because I like protein shakes, and not being worried about this whole food thing because I don't think, anyways, so that's all hogwash. I didn't know what the hell I was talking about. First of all, protein shakes, I'm already so sick of them. The thing is, if you buy a store-bought pre-made protein shakes, they're obviously not as bad. They're a little bit creamier, thicker. But I bought these, I was dumb, and I bought these caramel ones, and I can't stand them anymore. And I bought this chocolate protein powder that I have to make, and I'm so dumb. I should have researched opinions on that before, because I should have gotten a plain no flavored protein shake, because the problem with chocolate is you can only make something chocolate flavored. So if I want to add it to soup or anything like that, I can't do that, and I don't like the taste. I'm super sick of it already. So I don't know, I'm gonna have to play around and find some different protein shake recipes that will be better for me, because I still have to take them for a long time. But I don't mind the other stuff like yogurt. I was taking oatmeal, having oatmeal really watered down, didn't want any oatmeal in the morning, but then I just got a call yesterday from that bariatric nurse again, that same one, who basically reamed me for drinking oatmeal, and I said, well, that was in the instructions I was given before I came home. She said, well, not the instructions I gave you. I was like, oh god. I said, well, I was following the instructions of my team, and I didn't understand that there was separate instructions. And she said, oh, well, anyways, they found out, they think oatmeal ends up being too bad. It expands in your stomach, so it's not good for you. So she told me to stop taking that. I'd say my favorite thing to eat is my pureed cream of chicken soup. Basically, we just mixed a whole bunch of different soups together, cream of chicken, vegetable, and all that, and we emulsified it and put some milk in it and lots of seasoning, like salt and pepper, because it's so tasty and flavorful. It's the most delicious thing in my mouth, but I can't have very much of it. I literally have maybe half a cup, and I sip that really slowly. But I find that I do better with warm liquids. When I have a cup of decaf tea, when I have that soup, it sits and digests through my stomach a lot better. I don't cramp as much. I still get those cramps occasionally. I get these little spasms every now and then. I can only presume that it's just the stomach healing, and everything's slowly moving. So the other TMI flash alert, sorry for this, but just, one of the things that I think was causing me a lot of angst throughout the week was that I had not had a bowel movement since before the surgery. And I finally had one 6 days after the surgery. So I have to tell you, as soon as that happened, it was like my body instantly kind of had a pressure release, no pun intended, and I felt so much better. I went for an hour-long walk that day. I mean, I was out for an hour, and I had lots of breaks and stuff like that, but still I got an hour of fresh air, and just immediately completely turned me around, and I just felt a lot better. I would say I think the real discomfort is over. I'm still tender, and I still have to be careful, and I get little sharp pains and stuff every now and then as the wounds are slowly healing, but nothing unbearable. And I'd say the toughest part right now is the sort of backtracking to that comment I made again before about not being worried about the food thing and being utter crap. That's the part that I'm dealing with right now, is the head hunger, the addiction. So I'm having one of those cramps right now, and it feels like a hunger pain, and it's one I probably should be eating right now. But anyways, it's this. I'm starving for the taste and feel of food in my mouth. To be honest, I don't feel like I want to gorge or eat a whole bunch of food. I just want to taste something and feel something crunching my mouth. But that's, I imagine, because I'm on thicky fluids, and that'll get easier over time, I'm hoping. I'm not going to be presumptuous anymore and say, oh, that'll be easy for me, because it's clearly not. Especially when you have a husband and a child and they're eating normally beside you, and I'm not going to force them to eat like I'm eating. So I'm sitting there watching them eat delicious food and smelling it, and I just your body salivates at it. But anyways, it's my test. It's giving me my strength, or showing me that I have strength to get through it. It's funny, because the thing that I wanted to touch on too in this video, sorry to make it go on for so long, but is like, you know, there's a question that I've been asked a couple times before the surgery, and it's one of these questions that I think all of us that have that surgery probably get asked, and then it's the touchy question, like, why the surgery? Is it the easy way out? Why don't you just do diet and exercise on your own? And da-da-da-da. And so, and it's hard because sometimes you know the answer in your head, but you can't articulate it well. And so I've been actually like reading a lot, and I found some like really good blogs and articles from people who've gone through this, and they've just nailed it on the head with the sort of the reason behind everything. And you know, the thing is that there's a couple things. In BC, to get into this bariatric program, it's not easy. You have to go through this really intensive, rigorous screening process, and they send you to all kinds of experts, and you basically have to, you have to, not explain, but you have to prove that you're at this stage, that you need this help. So it's not easy to get this surgery, and it's not easy after. And so, you know, that part right there shows that it's not the easy way out, and you have to prove all this discipline before you even get to the surgery. So there's that. And the other thing is too is that, you know, nobody gets to this size, I don't think anybody gets to this size without having tried in the past to get skinnier. And so, like, everybody's story is different, and that's why I don't think anybody should ever look at anybody that's heavy and presume they know how they got there. They're just lazy, they're not doing this, because everybody has a different story. It could be health reasons, they could have had an emotional trauma, whatever the case may be, something physically wrong. The reality is, I can guarantee people that have been this heavy for so long have gone through this phase at some point in their life, many times in their life, where they've tried to lose the weight. And so but the reality is that, you know, as you get, the bigger and bigger you get, the harder it is to do the things that somebody who was, quote, a normal size could say, I'm just going to eat well and exercise and I'll stay fit, and that probably would work for that person. But as you get more and more obese, we're talking like 100 more than 100 pounds overweight, and you carry that weight for a really long time, now it becomes to the point where when the risks of your obesity outweigh the risks of an extreme diet, you have to go with the extreme diet. And so the surgery is that. It's a tool to help you, because so then there's the other reality. If we went and tried to just not eat these calories on our own without surgery, we would be stuck with that famine effect that kicks in, where once you get to about that 25-30 pound, your body starts to say, no, we're not letting you do this anymore. And that's when people end up having to eat again. And that's what I think is a very common problem with people that get this size, is that they can never get beyond that 25-30 pounds. And so that's where this surgery comes in, because it gives you that tool to beat that famine effect, where you won't feel the hunger that will kick in and make you start eating more again. And the other thing is that, you know, when a normal person couldn't go to this low caloric intake in a safe way if it wasn't doctor supervised, because that's the other question I get. I don't understand how you can survive and live off of so few calories when they tell us all our lives that that's really dangerous. Well, it is, but not dangerous to the point that people assume, like, if you stop having all those calories, you'll get sick or you'll starve and you'll die. It's not that. It has nothing to do with that. We can survive on very little calories, but if it's not doctor supervised, we will not be getting things like our vitamin and our mineral supplements that we might need. Whereas when you're doctor supervised, you're getting blood work constantly done. They're monitoring that, and they're making sure that you are okay while you're doing this process. And there's more science behind it than I'm jammering on about. But the reality is that's the biggest reason why it's okay. Why obviously it's okay to be doing this kind of a VLC diet, doctor supervised, as opposed to trying to do this on your own. Same thing if you were already a normal sized person and you tried to drastically lower your calories to anything below the 1200 mark, that would be dangerous, because you're already small. But if you're severely overweight, drastically lowering your calorie intake isn't dangerous, because we already have the excess fat storage to like rely on our body, and so we can afford that. And so that's what the surgery is offering to us, is the ability to go to that extreme low calorie level without feeling the hunger that's going to bring us back up to eating again. But here's the part that makes it, that you just want to explain to people that why it's not the easy way out, because the surgery is that very small initial part that happens in the beginning, and even before that, you actually have to prove discipline before that, because you have to lose weight before the surgery. And then after the surgery, for however many months, you're on a very, like, I'm on fluids for another week, and then I'm on puree. Like, I don't even get to eat normal food for quite some time. Normal food. So, and then after that, it falls entirely on you to continue the weight loss and maintain the weight loss. So you still have to have the same discipline as a quote skinny person who does it on their own without the surgery. You have to eat well and exercise for the rest of your life. And so if you can't do that, then the surgery will have been for nothing. So I don't know, it's just my rant about this whole, like, people assuming it's the easy way out. And the thing is that I also don't want people to presume that when people do this surgery, that it's don't be mistaken that this is the lack of a person trying the other way, like the hard way, without doing the surgery. Because I know for myself, I have tried it many, many times. I've done every diet possible. I've exercised religiously, and it never came off more than that 25, 30 pounds and stayed off, right? So it just showed that I needed the tool. And it just takes lots of discipline for the rest of our lives. So when people, I don't know, kind of mistakenly presume that this is some easy solution, that it's just taking this person's ability away to never have to eat again, it's not that at all. Because I will be able to eat normal, and I will want to eat normal, and so I have to still have that discipline when I get to that stage. But I've been following like a lot of these blogs lately, and a lot of them, this one person, she's 5 years out, like, having been losing her weight, and she's basically like an athlete now, and she's super fit, and I found the stuff that she said so wise and inspiring. And I think what I'll do is I'll probably post a link to her blog below in my profile of this web upload, because it's really good. And one of the quotes that she said was, surgery fixed what was wrong with me so I could fix the rest. And I thought that hit it on the nail, because that's exactly what it is. The surgeries helped to sort of fix that part that got away from us, which is that our weight got really high, and then now the only way to even remotely bring it down, I mean, and there's, you can bring your weight down extremely slowly, but then they've also shown that doesn't really, that's harder to do for somebody that's 150 pounds overweight, as opposed to somebody that needs to just lose 30 or 40 pounds. So you just don't ever compare yourself if you're somebody that needs to lose 30 or 40 pounds to somebody that needs to lose 150 to 200. Now, that by no means is saying that it's not hard for people to lose 30 or 40 pounds and that they don't struggle with that. I'm sure they do, but it's a different level. You probably can take the time to maybe lose the weight slowly, whereas a person that's morbidly obese doesn't. Time is not our friend. I don't have time. I'm going to be 43 in this month, and in June, and I don't have the time anymore, and I have a little girl to waste years slowly bringing my weight to a normal level, because I have so much to lose. So that is another reason why I think the surgery gets pushed in as an emergency procedure, right? Because it's when people start, you just don't have the time, when you're this obese, you don't have the time to wait for that weight to slowly come off, so they have to kickstart it. And then the rest is up to you. So anyways, that's my kind of tirade that I think I went off on there. But anytime I find anything good, or I read any good blogs, I'll try to share the links, because I try to quote and read stuff that they said, but it's hard when you're filming yourself talking. So, yeah, some of the stuff that I've read is just, it just was like an aha moment for me, because I was like, oh, that's a good explanation of this. And but yeah, anyway, so I'll get going now. I think my next update I'll do, I don't know, I'm just kind of flying by the seat of my pants here. I don't know if anybody cares to watch these. I'm just sort of doing it for my own self, to look back on, hopefully 5-10 years down the road and be like, oh, that was a cool journey I went through. Just a quick thing that I was talking about, that article that I read from that girl. She said the neat thing about her is that she feels that her weight loss is, some people say it's like an alcoholic, when you lose weight, you're kind of always going to be an obese person. You're always addicted inside. And she said she didn't believe that she felt it was more like beating cancer now that she's 5 years out. And I thought that was a better analogy, because it feels more hopeful. And the other part of it, the reason why she explained it that way, is because she said, now if she has a bad day where she's eaten bad or she didn't exercise as much, she doesn't feel like it's going to be this spiral into this pit back into like the lifestyle she led before. But she said it's the opposite, because she said now her new normal is healthy eating and exercise, and that because that's her normal, when she has an abnormal moment of a bad week or something happened, and it just that it's much easier for her to get back to her normal. So whereas for us now, that was probably the reverse, right? So that kind of again gave me hope, because I think that's how I would feel if I went that many years and managed to stay fit and healthy. Like if enough years go by and that's become my lifestyle, and I don't remember that lifestyle I led when I was 150 plus pounds overweight, then I'm hoping that will be the joy, that I can just relax and say, okay, if I have a bad day, it doesn't mean I'm going back to my old life. It just means I had a bad day, and I can get back to my new good life. So anyways, I'll do an update again. I was gonna say maybe month one. We'll see. I forgot to give you some stats. Kind of cool thing is I've, from the day that I got operated on, 3 days later I lost 10 pounds, and then I lost another 2 pounds. I think all in all, since May 9th, and it's now May 31st, I've lost 23 pounds. So the weight has dropped off significantly. I mean, granted, I understand they took a chunk of my stomach out. I'm sure that weighed some, but anyways, so the weight loss is happening so really quickly, so fast. So keep you posted on that. Anyway, thank you, and for listening to me ramble. Cheers.